Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle a mystery that has honestly baffled historians for decades.
So how does a civilization with millions of people just disappear? That's the question we're digging into today. We're looking at the mysterious decline of one of the most advanced societies of the ancient world, the Indus Valley Civilization. And let me tell you, it's a wild story of incredible sophistication and then a sudden, dramatic collapse that really holds a powerful lesson about just how fragile even the greatest societies can be.
But before we get to how they felt, you've got to understand just how incredible they were. To really feel the scale of this loss, we have to appreciate their achievements. We're talking about a civilization that, more than 4,000 years ago, wasn't just getting by. No, they were thriving. They were, in a lot of ways, right up there with the giants of their time, like ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia.
Yeah, check out this timeline. You can see they were flourishing at the exact same time as those super famous ancient empires. And their mature phase, from about 2600 to 1900 BCE, that was their golden age for sure. But here's the kicker, the really incredible part. They were the most widespread of all of them. Their civilization covered this huge area that stretches all across modern-day Pakistan and northwestern India. It was massive.
And their cities? Wow. Places like Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa, they weren't just cities, they were masterpieces of urban planning. Think about this. Streets laid out in a perfect grid. Buildings all made from standardized, baked bricks. And get this, they had the world's first known urban sanitation systems, sophisticated sewage and drainage. That's an achievement that literally wouldn't be matched for thousands of years. It's mind-blowing.
And just look at that number, 60,000. At their peak, a single one of these cities could have 60,000 people living in it. Now, to put that into perspective for you, that made them some of the biggest and most complex cities anywhere on the planet at that time. Just enormous.
Okay, so you're probably wondering, what was the engine behind all this? How on earth did they power this incredibly sophisticated civilization and support these huge, well-organized cities?
Well, the answer, as is the case for so many great civilizations, comes down to water. But here's the thing. It wasn't just the famous Indus River. They had another mighty monsoon-fed river system that we now call the Ghaggar-Hakra. You can almost think of it as their secret weapon. Every single year, the floods from this river would deposit all this rich, fertile silt across these massive plains, and that was the perfect foundation for their entire agricultural empire.
And boy, did they take advantage of it. These people were expert farmers. They were growing essential crops like wheat and barley, and they were the very first civilization in the world to cultivate cotton. On top of that, they domesticated really powerful animals like the water buffalo and built these huge granaries to store all their extra food. That surplus, that was the very foundation of their amazing city life.
So you have this stable, predictable world, an entire civilization built on this reliable rhythm of the river and the monsoon. But all of that was about to change, and I mean dramatically.
All right, let's get into it, because this is the moment everything changes. This is the critical turning point in their whole story. After centuries of things going so well, the very environment that allowed them to thrive, well, it started to turn on them.
You see, those powerful monsoon rains that they depended on to feed their rivers, they started to get weaker. The whole climate just became a lot cooler and drier. And we're not talking about just a bad year or two here. This was a major long-term environmental shift. It basically starved the Ghaggar-Hakra River, their agricultural lifeline. It just started to dry up.
And this right here is where their story becomes such a powerful lesson for all of us. This wasn't just one single disaster. Nope. It was the first domino to fall in a chain reaction that would bring their entire society to its knees. It really goes to show you how fragile even the most complex systems can be.
You can literally trace the cascade of collapse right here. Step 1. The climate shifts. The monsoons weaken and drought sets in. What happens next? Well, that leads directly to crop failures and famine. And when people are starving, what do you think happens? The very fabric of society just starts to tear apart at the seams.
And the archaeological evidence from this time? It is absolutely chilling. Forensic analysis of skeletons found in mass graves, it doesn't point to some big foreign invasion. No, it points to violence within the community. Internal conflict. As food and water got more and more scarce, it seems like society just turned on itself.
So those incredible cities, the ones that were once the symbol of their strength and the heart of their advanced infrastructure, they became impossible to maintain. You can't support tens of thousands of people without a stable food supply. These massive urban centers, they basically became death traps. So what did people do? They fled. They abandoned them. And as everyone scattered into these small rural communities, all focused on just pure survival, something really fascinating and tragic happened. You could call it a kind of societal unlearning. I mean, think about it. A complex urban society has specialists, right? You have scribes who can write, master metalworkers, expert potters, but in a desperate survival mode world, those skills, they become a luxury you can't afford. And without the big cities to support those jobs, the knowledge was just lost over a few generations.
So, there's this common idea that the Indus Valley people just vanished off the face of the earth. But the truth is a little more complicated than that. The civilization didn't just disappear, it deconstructed. Its big, grand, centralized structure completely collapsed, and what was left behind was something much, much simpler.
Their legacy, the legacy of the Harappans, it did continue. But it wasn't in those grand cities or their complex trade networks anymore. It lived on in the scattered, rural cultures that came after. The Great Society basically shattered into 1,000 smaller pieces, and those pieces were eventually just absorbed by other groups rising up in the region.
So what's the takeaway here? What can a society that collapsed 4,000 years ago possibly teach us today? Well, their story is an incredibly powerful ancient case study. It shows us, in stark terms, the unbreakable link between a stable climate, the infrastructure that we rely on, our water and our food systems, and the stability of society itself. It's a really sobering reminder that the foundations we're all standing on right now, they might just be a little more fragile than we like to think.